Good morning and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here today with Winter and Fred, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is Winter's ability to understand and respond to her formal on-leash obedience commands. The little tiny corrections and motivations that we give the dogs when we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Fred is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he keeps the bulk of the leash folded in his right hand. That leaves his left hand free to give any little correction that's needed, and the only correction that we give is a little tug and release on the training collar, and that is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Winter's going to come home with her very own training equipment, and you're going to be taught how to use that properly today during your follow-up training session. Now, if you notice, she is sitting very nicely and very calmly at Fred's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done. And the first exercise that they're going to demonstrate for you is heeling. Heeling is proper leash walking, and the command is Winter heel. Now, at this point, she has a job to do, and that is to maintain pace with her trainer when walking. If he walks fast or walks slowly, she should do the same. If he changes direction, she should be right there. And when he stops his feet, she sits automatically without being told to wait for her next command. And you can see she's got good eye contact. She's focusing on Fred. She's keeping track of where he is because that's her job. So when you're walking her now, she's not going to be dragging you down the street, but walking nicely next to your left leg and focused on you more than what's going on around her. Now, the next command that we're going to demonstrate is the sit-stay. The stay is a hand and a voice command, and because it is a stationary exercise, it is a one-word command. Okay. The long sit-stay when you're practicing at home can be practiced indoors as well as outdoors. We do our commands outdoors just so that you can see them clearly. You're going to start out at about 30 to 45 seconds and slowly work up to 3 minutes. When Fred returns back to her, he walks counterclockwise all the way back around to where they started, and he stops at her shoulders back at heel position, and he gives her the heel command again. She is a very nice Husky. She's been a really good girl. And she's smart. And Huskies usually don't really care if you're pleased or not, but you can see by her looking up at Fred that she's trying to please. She's got a good attitude. She's prancing, the tail's up. Eye contact is good. He leaves her in another sit-stay. He turns to face her. And he's going to use her name in a happy voice and demonstrate the come on command. It's Winter come, and she comes and sits, so no more jumping all over you. And make sure when you're introducing her to new people that you tell them that she's in training, and please don't pet her until she's sitting. That way you're having control of the situation. And Fred will demonstrate that come on command again for you. He leaves her in a sit-stay. He turns to face her. He uses her name and calls her in. And she comes right in and sits. Very nicely done, young lady. And back to heel. Now, this is drill work. This is repeating the commands over and over again to keep them fresh in her mind. And we're going to also be showing you how to use those in your everyday living situations. Nice sit. Now, the next commands that we're going to be demonstrating for you are our down commands, and there is a series of 2. The first one is your down from a heel position, so always have your dog seated first, left open palm straight down toward the ground, and the one-word command to down and stay. She puts her own spin on the down, but she's laying down, so you can't really fault her for that. This command you're going to lengthen out to 5 minutes, and you're going to practice. You can practice right in your living room. When Fred returns back to her again, he walks all the way around her. She should remain lying down till he gets back to her shoulders, and at this point she expects to get another command. And remember, when you're doing your downs, always have her sitting down first. And that way she only has to lower the front half of her body. Nice automatic sit. She thinks she's pretty cool. Down, stay. Fred turns to face her just like he did on the sit stay. She went to get up, and all he said was no, and she went right back into that down. He didn't correct her physically at all. He just said no, and she knew right away. This time he'll call her out of that down. So you can mix up your commands and make it a little bit of a challenge for her. So she's not predicting what you're going to tell her to do next, or anticipating the next command. And the very last command that we're going to demonstrate for you is the down from a distance. This is a little bit harder command because you're not right next to her. You're going to leave her in a sit stay. You're going to turn to face her. You're going to use this is the only time you're going to use your right hand to give the command, and you're going to drop her into a down from a distance. Very nicely done. So we have demonstrated for you all of Winter's formal on-leash obedience commands. We'll be chatting today about how to use them and how to get the desired behavior from her. She's a nice girl. We've enjoyed having her. We want to thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company, and a happy 2019.